4:15, 15 minutes away from Sheffield United against Man United at Bramall Lane, kicking off 4:30. This is the Love Sport Fans Forum. Miles Blumsom and Dave Seeger in. And finally, I've been waiting for an hour and 15 minutes of this show to properly get into Mourinho at Tottenham. We're joined by Chris Cowlin, author, blogger and Tottenham Hotspur fan. Now, Chris, firstly, Dave said that you take it easy on him. Don't. Please don't.
I've just left the studio.
Welcome to the show. But first things first, let's ask the question we need to ask. Do you think that it was the right decision to get rid of Pochettino?
Personally, I would have given Pochettino a few more months. I think for what he achieved at the football club the last 4 years, he's guided us to Champions League football every year. Of course, he guided us to that famous Champions League final on the 1st of June. And the work that the guy has done ever since he arrived has just been incredible. He took us to places where we didn't think that we could go, and he's now put in a fantastic foundation for someone like Jose Mourinho to take over at the club. But to answer your question, no, I think that he should have been given a little bit more time.
Oh, fair enough. The Mourinho effect was in full force immediately, especially with one player yesterday against West Ham. 3-2 the result for anyone who hasn't heard somehow the football results from yesterday. Tottenham beating West Ham at the London Stadium. The player who the Mourinho effect really had taken over was Dele Alli. What a performance from the boy.
Absolutely brilliant. I was absolutely delighted to see that Mourinho went so attacking in his first game in charge of Spurs, because he's known for parking the bus and all of these types of things. But, he put Lucas Moura in the team. He's a huge Lucas Moura fan. And it was really, really nice to see Dele Alli being back to his old self. We hadn't seen a Dele Alli like this for the last 2 or 3 years. So, Mourinho has only arrived a couple of days ago, and I think that he's already had such an effect on certain players already, particularly Dele Alli, and it was a superb performance from him.
Do you think that decision was made easier by perhaps a conversation with Levy around Eriksen? Because there's no way that you're going to keep all these players to the end of the season. So I think one of them's going to go in January. Levy won't let them go for free. So giving Ali that 10 role and not having Eriksen in the team might have been the best thing for Ali. It might be something that it's just logical.
Absolutely, but you can't go away from the fact that Christian Eriksen has been in very, very poor form throughout this whole calendar year, 2019. Dele Alli always shows fantastic commitment to the club, always plays very well, but yesterday was a particularly good performance from him. But the players in training, ever since Mourinho has arrived, they must be playing out of their skin. They're playing for their futures, and if Mourinho don't like you, then he'll ship you out of the club. So all of them are playing for, regardless of reputation, they're playing for their futures, and ultimately, there will be players coming in and there will be players going out, and it'll be an interesting couple of months.
You mentioned Eriksen there being one of the players who potentially could go, and I think he should go. I don't want to see him in matchday squads anymore, because I just don't think he's good enough anymore, let alone his attitude. And for me, he's a player who could go like Alexis Sanchez. Fabulous footballer 2 years ago, maybe good in Italy now, but in the Premier League isn't going to be good enough. Do you see him having a way back in at Spurs? Where do you think we might see him ending up?
I don't actually. I know some people have said that Eriksen might sign a new contract under Mourinho. I can't see that actually. I think that he's had his head set on a brand new challenge. I don't blame him whatsoever. We bought him for £11 million, all those years ago. So the £11 million investment in Eriksen, I think we've had more than our money's worth from him. But I definitely can see him going in January, if not the end of the season. But to have three key players who have been vital to Tottenham over recent years, Jan Vertonghen, Toby Alderweireld and Christian Eriksen, all out of contract at the end of this season, is a little bit of a worry. So it will be interesting to see what Jose Mourinho does, what players he will bring in, what players he does bring in.
Well, I think he was heavily linked to Alderweireld, obviously, when he was at Old Trafford as manager, wasn't he? So he's obviously an admirer of the player, so maybe he's the one that Mourinho will try and pin down. But I was interested, as a very interested bystander, obviously. No, I was interested to see that Dyer was given a bit of reprieve, because he really has been out in the cold for a long time, really, under Pochettino. And yet I think Mourinho, you say it's nice that he went attacking, but he literally had 4 attacking players and the rest are sitting, and that could play into Dyer's hands. He might get a reprieve at Tottenham, do you think so?
Yeah, I think as soon as Mourinho took over at the club, I think it was very natural for him to put Lucas Moura and Eric Dyer in the team. And of course, Toby, he is a huge admirer of a lot of Tottenham players, because, as he said in his press conferences, he's tried to buy a lot of the Tottenham
Eriksson
players.
was one of those as well, by the way.
Well, there you go. But it just proves what a great team and a great squad that Mourinho has inherited. But we will never ever forget the work that Mauricio Pochettino has done, to build this squad. And I think it is a little bit easier than normal new managers coming into a club, because he has inherited such a good squad.
I feel like someone's going to write an ode to Pochettino at some point, just to hark back for everything he's done for the club.
I just got this vision of a picture of Pochettino with a trowel in his hand, putting cement and bricks, because every Spurs fan I've heard on the station this week said he laid great foundations, but now we've got a winner.
I tell you, I'd get him to build the start of the house, that's for sure. Going back to yesterday's game, some worrying signs. We let West Ham back in. I would argue that 5 more minutes and it probably would have been 3-3. What was it that made West Ham get back into the game? Where did Tottenham sort of fall off the pace second half?
It was frustrating us conceding 2 goals, because for me, I think that earlier on in the second half we should have scored a lot more. Lucas Moura had a fantastic chance to make it, another goal. But it was frustrating, and that is what has been frustrating throughout the whole of 2019, of us conceding so many goals. We're not keeping that many clean sheets at the moment. But Jose Mourinho has been at the club for only a couple of days, and I must say, we hadn't won away in the Premier League for 10 months. So it was just a huge sigh of relief for every fan that we got the 3 points yesterday. And we hadn't got a win, since January. And our last 12 away games in the Premier League, we'd drawn 3 and lost 9. So we had got just as many points yesterday as though, the last 12 Premier League away games. So it was just a huge sigh of relief getting those points.
Yeah, it really was. There was only one player that Mourinho picked to start yesterday that I sort of thought, ooh, and that was Serge Aurier at right back. He doesn't do it for me. He's too erratic. On his day, he can be very good. Do you think that Walker-Peters or Juan Foyth can really push him so that they can be a Mourinho starting right back?
Probably not, in my honest opinion. I think that is an area that I was surprised that Pochettino and the club didn't invest in during the summer when we sold Kieran Trippier. It is an area that Mourinho will certainly look at. Defensively, any team that Mourinho has ever managed, they've been very good defensively. He's only been at the club for a couple of days, as I keep saying, so there's only so much work he could have done in those few days. But there's no doubt at all that Mourinho will look at the defence, work with the defence, and make us a lot better defensively and not concede many goals, because he is a winner, a proven winner. Every single club he's been at, he's won trophies. You don't win trophies being poor defensively.
Takes us to 9th in the table, 17 points, just the 9 points behind Chelsea in 4th. How high can we finish this season now Mourinho's come in?
I'm confident that we will finish top 4 now with Mourinho in charge.
Wow,
I really am.
I have to disagree. The only reason I disagree is because Chelsea, yes, they lost yesterday, but they played quite well. Leicester are playing well. Do you really think that we can catch those teams? They're going to drop enough points for us to catch them?
Well, last week we were 12 points away from top 4. Now we're 9. Yes, they played a very hard team, but I do think that Manchester City and Liverpool will win. One of them will battle it out for the Premier League title this season. I think Leicester and Chelsea, a few injuries, a few of their key players out. I think that they will drop points, and I do think that Tottenham will finish top 4. Under Mourinho.
What is it that Mourinho did in his last 18 months at Man United, which were so awful, that has made you think he's now going to be brilliant just 18 months later?
I don't even think of Mourinho managing Man United. I've given him a completely
his second spell at Chelsea, the last season when they were 19th or something when they sacked him. I mean, the last two clubs he's managed in England, barring the first season at Man United where they played awful football and won trophies, but the next season they were dire and won no trophies. What is it that you're seeing about him that makes you think, on the basis of 2 or 3 days training and one match, that he's going to take you from where you are to fourth? I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Because he is a proven winner.
No, he isn't. He was a proven winner. He was a proven winner. That's like saying Wenger's a proven winner. He wasn't at the end. He wasn't.
He is a proven winner. He won trophies at Manchester United. He had a poor team, and he still won trophies there. He won the Europa League and the League Cup in the first season.
I think he spent £200 million, yeah.
Yeah, but being a Tottenham fan, we haven't won a trophy in a very long time. A league title since '61, an FA Cup since '91. A European trophy since '84.
These should be my lines, Chris.
But the last trophy, League Cup 2008, it's too long. For a club like Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, we need trophies. And I believe that Jose Mourinho is the man now to deliver them. And yes, he's only been in charge of the club for a couple of days, but there is a lot of excitement amongst the fans now because we do have a winner coming in. And that's why I'm confident that we will finish top 4 this season.
So, yeah, you've just said top 4 this season. Next season, title challenge?
It depends on the investment, because I believe only a couple of years ago we had a very, very good squad. We were only 2 or 3 players away from really pushing the top teams like Manchester City and Liverpool. Mm-hmm. We just don't invest the money that we need to.
We don't, but we do have some very good players still in the side, Dele Alli being one of them. Harry Kane is always guaranteed a goal if he gets the service. That's something that I want to see more of from Mourinho. I just want him to build the team around Harry Kane. I didn't feel like it was being built around Harry Kane under Pochettino in the last year. He wasn't getting into games enough, and I feel it was the way the other players were playing more so than Harry Kane.
His best football came the season when Ali had his best season.
Yeah. Because
those two in tandem were that was the greatest Tottenham era, I thought, under Pochettino, when Ali had that amazing season.
Yeah, definitely.
But I don't see a problem at the moment with us going forward, because having that front line, Harry Kane, Lucas Moura, Heung-min Son, Dele Alli, you are always going to get goals from those players, always. The problem now is defensively, and there is no better manager, in my opinion, to come in and sort us out defensively and build that good defence again.
Chris, thank you very much. Chris Cowlin there, author, blogger and Tottenham Hotspur fan.